Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Malts and Maples for the top 100 games of all time. I'm Petter, and today we are going through 40 through 31. Now, we're getting close to the end of the list. 30 through 21, 20 through 11, and then the top 10. So, of course, I can say we're finally getting to the good stuff, but really, there have been a lot of amazing games and games that I just adore on this list. I think I looked up the numbers last time. It was something like 650-ish or so different games that I have played and rated in my lifetime. So the top 100 is not that large a percentage of them. But let's get started with the list here. And let's get started with, of course, number 40. Number 40 is going to be a long time one on the list. 36 last year, 35 the year before. We have a Sushi Go Party. Sushi Go Party is a drafting game where you are collecting different things for your meal. So it might be sushi, onigiri, tempura shrimp, eel, whatever it might be, tofu, miso soup, all sorts of different things. And you're drafting them doing set collection to score points. All of them are going to score points for you in different ways, determine how many you might want to collect of them. And it's just a fun, easy drafting game to get into and play. Now, this one too also plays well at higher player counts. So you can play up to 8 people. Really easily do that because everybody is laying down cards, drafting cards at the same time, so there isn't that downtime between turns. Sushi Go Party does, and Sushi Go in general, but Sushi Go Party in particular here, does two things that I really appreciate that make it feel a little bit unique. Firstly, you're drafting 3 different rounds. So each round you're going to score points based off of what you draft, and then those cards will go back into the pool. So you're not building on it round after round after round and scoring only at the end of the game. The other thing that I really like about it with that is that, well, I guess with that idea, it's not the second thing, it's a continuation of the first, is that you also draft desserts. Desserts are the one thing that don't get reshuffled in, because you only have your dessert at the end of the meal, but you can collect them throughout the game. And sometimes they can make or break who wins the game or not. The other thing, and this one is particular to Sushi Go Party, what I said previously could be true about Sushi Go, but I love Sushi Go Party and how many different combinations you could have in that game. You can swap out almost everything, and it's going to work in different ways for how you want to score. You want something that's kind of mean, like you can stick somebody with a card at the end that's going to cost them points. You can set it up that way. If you want everything just to give you a ton of points, you can do that too. Overall, just a really flexible game that I always have fun with. Number 39 here is going to be new to the list, and I have played this one so many times this year. It is not highly rated on BGG. If you go and look at it, I think it's like a 5.5 grade for it. Ninjan is a rock, paper, scissors game, but it's real. It has a little twist, and it's just a lot of fun. This is rock, paper, scissors for up to, I believe, 4 people. On each round, everybody picks one card from their hand, and you are playing rock, paper, scissors not against the other players, but against 3 cards that are flipped down in the middle. And The order that you play rock, paper, scissors against them, that is determined by who plays the highest value card. But it's traditional. It's the rock beats scissors, scissors beats paper, paper beats rock, which means with these cards out there, since some of them are high numbers, some of them it goes up to 10, some of them are low numbers. It goes down to -6. You might have a 10 of rock, but if you're only beating a -4 of scissors, you don't want to play out that 10 of rock. So it becomes this strategic game-ish of trying to outthink your opponents and figure out when to play cards. So it might be I play out a card that is really low because let's say there's an 8 of paper out there. Well, my opponent probably wants to get that. I don't have any good scissors to try and get that, but if I play a -4 rock, I'll probably go last. And if I go last, I might be able to take whatever my opponent plays out because the card you beat something with goes into that display. It's fast, it's good filler sort of game for me, and it leads to some interesting situations where you end up with all 3 piles are worth negative points, and so everybody's trying to play out cards to not win piles because what you play out gets added to a pile if you can't take something. And I've seen situations where all 3 piles are -8 or more, and you're just hoping that your opponent will have to take one, or opponents will have to take one before you are forced to take one. It's just a fun little tension in a really quick game. Number 38 here was 23 last year, 16 the year before, and that's going to be First Rat. Take your rat to the moon because the moon is made of cheese. This is a track progression kind of set collection game where you are moving your rat meeples up a track. When they get to the top of the track, they're done, they're ratstronauts, and they're ready for their mission. Along the way, you're collecting resources for them. I mean, obviously, for your propulsion system, you need baking soda and vinegar. How else are rats going to get to the moon? And so you collect these different ingredients to create different parts of the rocket, and each one of those parts you create, each full rocket you create, that's going to give you points. You also get points for going around a loop at the bottom, which can either get you special abilities or unlock more of your rats, or, like I was saying, get your points. And then one of my favorite tracks is this light system. This light system allows you to push up kind of your visibility as a rat, which means that any spot that you've already lit up, you get double resources on. So if you can really push that early, race up trying to do that, that can work well. And it's just fun, thinky. I'm not great at this game, but I enjoy it a lot as you try and bounce everything or pick a strategy that you really want to stick with and optimize to get the most points possible out of it. Now, you can't just do one thing. You do have to build some, even if you're going up the light track, or maybe you're moving your mice around, whatever it is, to get points down on that bottom track. But it's all about how you can get points in a theme that is really unique and different. First Rat's a little bit of a longer game, so it's not going to be one that I play a ton every year, but I'm always glad when I get it played. 37 is new to the list. There's actually 3 new to the list ones this year. 37 and 36 being the 2 plus Ninjan. So 37 is going to be Let's Go to Japan. This is another drafting game. I really enjoy drafting games, and Let's Go to Japan is great in person. It's great on Board Game Arena. In this one, you are building out your Japanese vacation. You have a week to travel. You're traveling between Kyoto and Tokyo, and you decide how much time you want to spend in each location. You don't even have to ever leave one of those locations, but that's all dependent upon the cards you draft. And as you draft, you're trying to align kind of the activities that you're doing by placing them on the correct day, or the day that you want to do that sort of activity. That's going to boost kind of you up a track, or not up a track so much, but boost you to get bonuses. And those bonuses can help make it so when you're stuck drafting something you don't want to, you can kind of fish for more options. Or it might just be other bonuses that like push up your happiness meter, or give you a wild card token because you draft 3 different cards for every day, and each day you stack the cards. Only the card, well, you're going to have your stack of 3 cards. Only the card on the bottom of the stack, the lower on the stack, really the top of the stack, anyways, only the one at the bottom of the kind of this line of cards is going to give you the bonus at the bottom. All the rest are going to give you symbols at the top, including the one at the that gives you the bonus. So you're trying to line all those up to get the bonuses best you can. That's where those wild card tokens can come in. And it's just an aesthetically pleasing and enjoyable drafting game. Clearly, I like this one just a little bit better than Sushi Go Party. I think Sushi Go Party is a better drafting game for a wider audience of people. But this one, thematically, Let's Go to Japan. I enjoy Japanese culture, food. So, yeah, I'm in on this one. And they are doing more, I believe, in the series. I forget the next one that they announced, but Let's Go to Another Country. And I'm excited to see if it's just basically the same game with a different country themed on it, because that could still be fun. But I also hope that they give little tweaks to the system every time, even if that means Let's Go to Japan is the simplest out of all of them, because it'd be fun to have kind of this collection of games that all offer something a little bit unique in the drafting space, but have that same DNA, kind of like you get with games like Pandemic or Ticket to Ride, something like that. This game feels basically as welcoming as those. So yeah, it is just a really fun time. My number 36 is, like I said, the last new one on the list, and this one I have played more than Let's Go to Japan, more than Ninjan, because I have a standing group that we play this on BGA. There's 3 of us. We all hit up our turns probably 3 to 4 turns minimum every day. Probably really average closer to like 8 turns every day for the Guild of Merchant Explorers. When you do that, you can get through a lot of these games every day. So this one gives you kind of that roll and write feel as you're trying to connect everything. I basically connect trade routes, connect cities, cover regions, and build settlements there. Then over 4 different eras, you wipe the board minus the permanent things like those villages that you put on it, and have to rebuild those routes. Now, that's a little bit confusing to explain. When you get it to the table, it's really quite simple. At least in terms of, it's a little bit confusing in terms of generalities. When you get it to the table, what you're doing is you're flipping a single card for all the players. And that card might be like, all right, place 1 cube on a mountain spot, or place 2 cubes on forest spots. And everybody's just doing that. But that seems like you might all do the same thing. But the game offers a way to kind of change that up for you, and that is with kind of an era card. One card for each era that you draw. You get to choose between two, and that is going to give you a unique thing that comes up whenever that era card is flipped. So that might be starting on a desert spot, then in a straight line do 3 more. Or it could be do 4 forest, and every coin you cover, coins give you points, are worth triple. And so the game's all about getting as many points as you can, but it's just so much fun. Plus there are some goals that you're after, and the goals stretch you and kind of push you in interesting directions. And the game comes with 4 different maps. They put out an expansion so you could play with 8. I was like, do I really want that expansion? I kind of do now. I'm like, it would be a blast to play with 8. But what I'm hoping for is another expansion in the future where it's just another 4 maps. 4 maps, goal cards for those maps, and maybe a few more of those potential era cards. And that's what you go with, because I'm loving the game. I don't foresee stopping playing it on BGA anytime soon, and it's going to be one that I pull out in real life, or the physical copy as well, to play, because it just works so well, and it's so simple, easy to learn, easy to pick up, easy to play. Number 35 on the list was 33 last year and 22 the year before that. Has to be one of my highest roll and write games, I believe. And that is going to be the Isle of Cats Explore and Draw. Now, I enjoy the Isle of Cats. The Isle of Cats is kind of a drafting, polyomino placement game. The Explore and Draw is less drafting. You play over a certain number of rounds. You're still filling in those polyomino shapes on your board, but you are activating a column of cards. And that's going to give you 3 things kind of each turn that you can do. A lot of what you're going to do is get cats. You're rescuing cats in the Isle of Cats, by the way. You're rescuing cats, and you're going to be filling in the shape of the cat onto your board. That's going to be the majority of what you do. But some of the columns are going to have scoring cards. So these are scoring objectives that at the end of the game you'll check. It might be like, if your largest group of cats is 5 cats of the same color, group of cats is the same color touching, then you get an extra 7 points or 10 points or whatever it is. But you have to make the decision, do I pick that column knowing that I'm going to get 1 less cat to add to my ship, or do I want to get more cats because I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to meet that goal? It's just a fun balance. Plus, they give you, I think, 3 or so opportunities to use a special ability that is going to allow you to pick, instead of maybe rows, you might pick a column, or you might pick an extra card that you use. And because it's this grid of cards, everybody's going at the same time. And it is just a fun roll and write with a lot of depth, a lot of interesting decisions that you end up making in the game. I do need to play the game this is based off of more. I've only played it at 2, and I thought, at 2. I suspect I'd enjoy it more at a higher player count, kind of like I do Nidavellir. So that was 35. Number 34 is a big game, the Isofarian Guard. This is a bag building game of grand adventure. The basic premise of the story is this guard, the Isofarian Guard, finds basically that magical abilities are real. But the king doesn't believe them. Something is going on in the kingdom. Now they have to go on their quest to figure that out. This is a 1 to 2 player game. I want to get back to it, but I want to get back to it at 2 players, so I got to figure out how and when to do that. But the game is all about moving around the map, interacting with places, tracking down story that you're supposed to find, going to these different towns, and then, of course, fighting monsters, bad guys, whatever it might be. And fighting the bad guys, it's all about this chips system where you have your bag of chips for your character. You draw out a number on turn, and those might give you, say, defense, attack, could be something else, could be a negative, could be a positive, like, oh, your attack's going to deal extra damage if you can make an attack this turn. And you're lining it up with cards that tell you, well, I need 1 attack symbol to use this, or I need 2 sword symbols to be able to activate this. And you activate, say, that attack, you attack one of the bad guys, then you flip that card. It's going to give you a different ability. So it's optimizing, trying to be able to use every single chip you have in your deck, but also then keeping the rotation of cards, flipping back and forth so that you're using what's best for you, lining things up in a way that you want to be able to take out enemies. And now I say it's a 1 to 2 player game. Obviously, there's way more than 2 players on the front. This is a campaign game where it's not just a campaign, but it is. So it's a campaign where you're taking a pair of these guards through their story every time. And you will go then, after playing with 1 pair of guards, you'll go play with another pair of guards, and they're going to have their story that starts at the same spot as everybody else's, but their particular mission, what they're sent on, is going to be different. So that's the Isofarian Guard, my number 34. At 33, we have Forest Shuffle. This is one, I gotta check the numbers, 55 2 years ago, 24 last year, 33 this year, and one that I think it's sticking around here because I keep on playing it on Board Game Arena. It is a lot of fun in real life as well, but Board Game Arena's implementation of it is really good because the scoring can be a bit complicated in this game. This is a tableau building game of building out your forest in front of you. And in your forest, you can add trees. That's kind of the big thing. You have to add trees. You can't have a forest without trees. But each tree then has a spot above it, below it, left and right side, where it can slot in a card. And your non-tree cards are either going to be vertically split or horizontally split with 2 different options on the card. And you have to play out those cards. And if you play out something for the top half of the card, it's going to slot in above a tree. And you need to have room for that because you can't fit more than one thing on each side of the tree. Rabbits, hares break that rule because of course they do. They're just everywhere. You can have multiple on the same side of a tree. But that's neither here nor there. So it's just a fun game about building out those scoring options. So like I said, you have your trees. Your trees are going to give you different ways to score. The animals or fauna, flora and fauna you put on the trees is going to give you different ways to score. Their expansions that make certain things slightly better, try and balance out some of it. There's a new version of the game, which is great as well. You can find that on Board Game Arena. So really, Forest Shuffle, this is everything for Forest Shuffle, whether it's the new version of the game or it's this game with expansions. They all just work really well. Now, I did mention that I love it on BGA. It's a little bit trickier in person. The reason it's a little bit trickier in person is when you're done, and I'll talk about how the game ends in a second here, but when you're done, you have a whole forest in front of you, and you have to score not only you have to look and see, what do my trees score? Okay. What do the cards above and below my trees score? And that's going to be based off of symbols everywhere else. Okay, what do the cards on the left and the right of my tree score? And you have to figure all of that out. And it's a lot. There's room for error in there, but it still works so well. And I believe there's an app that you can use to score your tableau. I haven't tested that out, but that would alleviate a little bit. And I really do too like how the game ends. Like I said, I was going to mention this. The game ends with 3 winter cards. The second you reach the 3rd winter card, the game is over. But kind of the challenge or the twist of the game is as you are going through the deck, okay, probably bottom quarter of the deck, that's where you're going to find all the winter cards. But the second you hit 1, it's like, okay, need to start playing out more cards. Can't maybe keep as large a hand of cards because I don't know when we're going to hit those next winter cards. The second you hit that second one, it's like, all right, if I'm short anything for any of like my big point cards, I need to make sure I get that played out right now because I don't know when that last winter is going to come out. And sometimes you're like, well, I just got to draw cards off the top of the deck to get enough to play out the card that I want to. I really hope I don't come across that winter, because that's kind of the final thing I'll mention here is it does something I really appreciate in a lot of games where to play a card you have to spend cards from your hand. So you might look at it and go, I want to keep all these cards, I want to use them all, and then realize, nope, I can't. I have to play some of them out, discard them into the clearing. I can draw them back into my hand on the next turn, but somebody else might grab them first, or if the clearing gets full, that will just get wiped out. But yeah, the artwork's great, the gameplay's great, just a lot of fun. That takes us to number 32. It was number 4 last year, and this one's just slipped because I played it, I think, middle part of last year, so it's been over a year since I played it. But the 7th Citadel, this is one that I'd love to get back to the table, but this is so true with so many campaign kind of experiences. I'm even finding it a little bit with the RPG that I'm doing solo. I will get back to that hopefully this Monday. But I always want to share the story with others. I love that group decision making and experience of a story and just kind of remembering and being able to talk about it with others. And with 7th Citadel, I'm really enjoying the story. I love what the game does and how it plays. I just want to find one other person, maybe 2, to play it with. This game is all about exploring, going on missions, exploring the map. Generally, you have an idea of where you want to go to do that exploration, and it is this weird world where there are monstrous plants, monstrous monsters. It's post-apocalyptic. The citadel you were in, the 7th Citadel, has crumbled and fallen, as the Necro Druids lost control, basically, is what it is. And yeah, you heard that, Necro Druids. And now you're trying to build up a new community in the shadow of this fallen citadel. Plus, that there are other things going on. So I don't really want to get into the story too much of it, but the general part that I told, very much kind of, you get that early on in the story. To go along with that, the gameplay is a lot of fun. It's deck management gameplay, where every challenge you're doing, you're trying to get a certain number of stars connected. If you get to that number of stars, you're going to pass that challenge. Combat's slightly different, but fairly similar still with how that works. The issue is you have a limited number of cards in your deck, so you have to decide how far you want to push. You can push quite a ways. You can really push and draw a whole bunch of cards and basically guarantee that you're going to complete something. But if you run out of cards in your deck, you lose the mission. It's over. Now, there are ways around that, in that your health is a resource. Your health is a resource you can spend to bring back cards and add them back into your deck. And I forget how many you start with at 2 players. And it's a fairly healthy number, but at 1 point of health for 2 cards, very quickly you start to get to the point of like, well, I don't have that much health left. If I get into a combat, that could take me out, assuming I can't take out whatever I'm fighting against immediately. And then, yeah, so it's so good. It is one that I need to get back to again, because it's a blast to play, and it is really cool to have a giant map spread out on your table. And finally, at 31, the only trading card game on the list. This has gone from 55 2 years ago, 24 last year, 31, correct? Yes, 31 now. Wow, I was off on my numbers there. 81 2 years ago, 27 last year, 31, so holding pretty steady this year. We have Star Wars Unlimited. This is by far my favorite TCG, CCG sort of game. I do love Magic the Gathering as well, but Star Wars Unlimited gives me a Star Wars theme that I absolutely enjoy, as well as then gameplay that I find really fun and just engaging. You are trying to keep your base alive the longest. If you can take out your opponent's base before they can take out yours, you win the game. And each player has their base. That base is going to have a certain number of hit points for it. It might be less if it has an ability you can use. Or you could just go with the generic one, which is going to have the same number of hit points as every other generic one. But the base you choose and the leader you choose are going to give you a combination of 2 colored symbols, red, blue, green, yellow. And so you'll have 2 of those, plus then either light or dark side. And that determines how you can build your deck. And it's possible that your base will be red and your leader will be red, and that will allow you to play now cards with 2 reds on them, but not play cards from other colors. Now, that's not quite true. You can play cards from the other color groups that just cost you more. And so generally that's not an ideal strategy, because that means you're paying more. Like a good card, is it still a good card if it costs 1 more? And the thing that I really like about this compared to Magic, Lorcana does something similar, or does it do something similar? I forget. But it gets rid of kind of that I react to something you're doing. And I really appreciate that because it keeps the game clean and just a little bit more focused, simple. Because in this game, I play out a card, it can't attack the first turn it's played out. Just an extra piece of information there. But I take an action, you take an action. I take an action, you take an action. And those actions can be play out cards to your space or your land kind of battlefields. Space attacks space, or space attacks space. Land attacks land, land attacks space. And it's just so slick, so simple how that works. And then there are some fun interactions with things. I mentioned the leader. The leader has a power that you can use as much as you want. Or, well, I say as much as you want. Once around, once kind of in between times when you draw cards. Or you can also, once you have enough resources out, play out your leader. And they're going to be like your big hitter who comes out and immediately becomes a target. It's such a fun, simple system with some really fun deck building in there. You get great synergies. You can build a Mandalorian deck. You can build a Jedi deck. Sith, whatever you want. Force sensitive, Empire. Yeah. So many different options for how you build and play that it's just a blast. And I mentioned the two different zones, how you have your space and land. Well, you can decide, I'm just going to go all in land and hope that my opponent doesn't have enough space to take me down before I overwhelm them on the land side and just decimate that and get through to the base over there. But yeah, great game. I have so much stuff for it. I need to build a bunch more decks. Just have a day where get together with a friends. Everybody pulls out their decks if they have them, or I have plenty, and we just have a fun time with it. There's also a kind of Commander-esque version where you can have 2 leaders. And so it's just going to be lots of different ways you can play it if you want to. You can draft it or do sealed with it. So yeah, such a fun time. And it's not as expensive as Magic the Gathering if you really want to get into it. But it does still offer you some really cool collector's packs and cards. So let's just quickly run through all of these. My number 40 is Sushi Go Party, a drafting set collection game. My number 39 is Ninjon, a rock, paper, scissors game where you're trying to get the most points. At 38, we have First Rat, race up the track. Well, go up the track, collect resources, build your rocket ship, and get your rat to the moon, because the moon is, of course, made of cheese. At 37, we have Let's Go to Japan. This is a drafting set collection or resource collection game about building out your perfect trip, week-long vacation to Japan. Then at 36, we have the Guild of Merchant Explorers, a route connecting, village building, fun. I mean, all of these are fun. A simple game that almost has a roll and write feel to it. At 35, we do actually have a roll and write game, the Isle of Cats Explore and Draw. This is about rescuing cats from an island that is going to be destroyed and collecting sets of those cats and making the smartest decision you can in drafting them. At 34. Yes, 34. We have the Isafarian Guard, a big campaign game where it's all about bag building and bag management of your abilities in combat. 33, we're going to have Forest Shuffle, a tableau building game of building out the forest that's going to score you the most points while managing your hand, because every card has a cost. Sometimes that cost is 0, and you have to pay with the cards you have in hand. Number 32 is the Seventh Citadel. Seventh Citadel is another campaign game, deck management, where you're going through your deck, which is one of the ways you can lose the game if you run out of cards there, to complete challenges using those cards, and then you can refill your deck. You're balancing it out by spending your health. And finally, number 31, the TCG Star Wars Unlimited. This is a great, fast, back and forth game as you build out and take your favorite Star Wars characters into battle, trying to destroy the other's base before they destroy yours. But there we have it. We have 40 through 31. Let me know your favorite on the list. Drop that in the comment section below. Or if there's one that you're like, man, that sounds interesting, I'd love to try it, drop that down in the comment section too. But with that, hold on me. Getting ahead of myself here. You can also check out the other content. Obviously, you can catch up on the previous parts of the Top 100 of All Time 2025 edition by checking out the past videos, as well as then the other playthroughs. I have playthroughs of several of these games here on the channel as well. Or if you're more interested in written reviews and articles on other nerdy topics, you can check out nerdologists.com. And finally, I have a podcast for all those Marvel nerds out there like me, where you can find that here on YouTube by searching for 10 Minute Marvel, or wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcast from. We talk about all sorts of different MCU topics, comics, but mainly those movies and TV shows. With that, bottoms up, and we will see you next time.